Hello, we're both here.
Me.
We can see you, but when you go on our chat, it's about 30 seconds behind because well, maybe 10, 15.
We
don't know exactly.
It's very interesting because I've seen Linda drink that same glass of water 3 times on different things.
So now we know that we're live, and I'm not being disconcerted by how far Facebook's behind because I've come onto the Zoom page instead. So hello, everybody. Wendy's following what you do say.
Right,
so,
Bo, Caroline.
Hi, Bo.
Sharon. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Salma. We're here.
Yeah, so Wendy's got her eyes over there and I've got my eyes over here. So hello, some of you have completed your questionnaire and some of you haven't. And the results are a bit fascinating.
They are indeed.
They're a bit fascinating. You need to do the program.
Yeah.
What we can tell you is you definitely need to do the program.
Oh dear, there's a couple of 10 out of 10s on Saboteur, folks. That's what I can tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you want to find out your results? Have you worked your results out from your questionnaires? Because I can get my
No, because I haven't shown them how to work it out. That's what we were going to do tonight.
All right,
I've got the things so that you can do. If you want to keep it private, you can. But if not, I'm going to show you what you need to do. I'm going to join you up to our thing. Oh, I've got it on the wrong page, ready to start, but that's okay. Because I'll just take us backwards, till it's on the right page. They're just our pretty pictures for you to see at the beginning. So here we go. If you've got your things in front of you, then I can give you your answers to tell you what the responses are, so you can work it out for yourself. I don't think I'm going to tell anybody directly. What we will do is I'll send a message to you. I'll send you on Messenger your private things because we've done it. Because we've calculated and we might as well send it to you. So on Messenger, I will send you your calculations if you've not done it. Because we have people who've ranged, we've got people who've ranged between one person who's particularly well-rounded, but still has some things to work on, and others that you definitely need the course. You definitely need this program. Mm-hmm. So without going any further, I'm going to let you copy this. And I had hoped very optimistically that I would have included this into an email, sent it to you, so it was there ready for you to have opened up and looked at it and done it. But computer said no. And computer said no all day. So I'm absolutely fucking fed up. And at the end of my tether, as far as computers are concerned, so in the end I went, stuff it, we'll just do it as we do it here. So if you can do a screenshot of this for yourself, you will have it when you need it. Mm-hmm. See, there's always a way for a problem solver. There's always a way you can do things without actually having to do it. Mm-hmm. So just take these scores down so that you can go away and work your own scores out if you've got them.
I was waiting for you to tell me I'm a prostitute. Salma, do you want to know?
She's going through the answers now for what you said.
I can tell you, you're all prostitutes.
Yeah, I'm going to say you were all prostitutes at some point. I think Caroline was the least prostitute. Energy.
Yes, Salma, you are a prostitute.
Yep, and we'll tell you what prostitute consciousness is, because that's what we're going to go into this evening. The main things we're going to focus on this evening are the shadow council.
And just a quick outline, because we're actually going in depth every morning on each of the shadow council. So you'll get a much more in-depth view with each morning for what you're looking for and for what you might hear yourself saying and doing. But tonight we're just going to give you a basic outline of what's on each council.
Yeah. So starting with, the first one is prostitute consciousness. Have you all got your screenshots? I've given you time. So then it's your child consciousness. Take your screenshot. If it takes as long as I do, I'm just giving you a little bit extra time, because if your computer's saying no like mine has all day.
You are amusing me. Right, there we go.
And there's your victim consciousness. They're the scores for your victim consciousness, which ones to mark yourself for. Score 1 for every yes that's there on those numbers. We've got a marking grid. Show you what our marking grid looks like. Yeah, there's our marking grid. So we can do it fairly quickly directly from the program, and we've had fun just doing it now.
From the answer.
We just ran out of time while I was putting my lipstick on.
I've yet to work out how to set up a questionnaire so that it marks itself, and that's the only difficult. So that's my next challenge. I'm learning new things every day.
Yeah, we've become really technical in so many ways.
Or not.
I've learned how to share onto this.
Yes, very good. I'm impressed.
So we've done it. So now take your screenshot for your saboteur consciousness and what numbers that was. And it's not 1,621, it's 16,21, and it's 22,35.
I noticed that on the other one.
But I obviously missed that out. So there's nowhere where there's 4 numbers. Okay, off you go. And now we will go on to what they are and what the shadow consciousness is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to do them in this order because we call them the Council of Lies. Other people call them shadow councils, but we call it the Council of Lies. And the key headings are prostitute, child, victim, and saboteur. And we will go to the Council of Truth at the very end, because that's what we're going to be doing every evening for the rest of the week. So the Council of Lies, the prostitute, is, do you want to talk, Wendy?
No, you're all right. You're doing a good job.
It's the negotiator, the people pleaser, the peacemaker, the bargainer, the moderator. And it's in particular if you are doing this in things that are not in your best interest. So it's about negotiating. You can say, well, you need to negotiate about the way you live life. It depends on what you're negotiating against. It's where you set those boundaries, and it's about whether it shows that you have self-love and self-respect. And it's about holding true to your values and making your values non-negotiable.
Yes.
Okay. The peacemaker, again, it's about not being prepared to stand up for where you are. It's the people pleaser. Now, the reason that these are all important, and I'm going to go on to the next bit, because it's on here, it's about safety, belonging, and self-worth. I took a photograph of my legs just for all of you. Mine aren't that long. So safety, belonging, and self-worth. It's about belonging to your tribe. In the ancient times, if you didn't belong in your tribe, you very quickly faded away and died. It's hard going up against a saber-toothed tiger on your own. So this is the way that humans are. We are belongers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about belonging to your tribe. And your prostitute is when you give up the things that are important to you in order to remain in your tribe. So it leads to feeling.
Well, it leads to a sense of low self-worth. It's the kind of stuff that when you don't feel comfortable asking for things for yourself, whether it be a pay rise, whether it be about taking time for yourself, whether it be about having fun. And a nice example of this would be like when your family want you to do something and you don't, then it is, do you prostitute yourself for the sake of their choices rather than following what is your own choice and path?
And I think you'll find that in our society, there's a lot of us that do the latter, don't we? So it's when you don't speak out because of what other people might think. We like to use Brexit as the example here. There are now lots of further examples that COVID that has given us lots of other examples that you can use here. But it's where you don't speak out for your own truth just because you want to belong. And you
because you don't want to upset somebody else. It's not just about belonging. It's about, so it's the people pleaser. It's the one that where you will negate your own opinion, value, and whatever for the sake of not upsetting someone else. And it tends to be more a thinking of not upsetting rather than pleasing somebody. So if you feel uncomfortable, it's the kind of thing if somebody said about, well, Linda's example was when we went down to London the day after the Brexit vote. And we came from Doncaster, which had nearly 70% vote pro-Brexit. So that gives you a clue of what our voting pattern was likely to be. And then we're in a hall, and then there's all these people. So it was a Byron Katie event. And it was all these people going, oh, I'm so upset at the results. I'm so upset at the results. And me and Linda sat there going, And
So
at that
nothing-
time, we were very, very much in our saboteur energy and wouldn't have dared to speak
Prostitute
out.
energy.
Sorry, in our prostitute energy, and wouldn't have wanted to speak out for the sake of that. We would have felt incredibly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or actually, the same is the day after when I had a CQC inspector walk into the nursing home that I was working in. And she said what a shame it was. And I thought, there is no way I'm going to say anything different to this woman when she's doing an assessment on my nursing home. So that is a definite prostitute, because it was balancing it out against
An outcome you
an
wanted.
outcome that I wanted.
And it's when you're staying in a happy marriage partnership for the sake of security. And it's when you stay in it's when you stay in a job for the sake of security.
Yeah, a job you don't like.
I mean, we're focusing mainly on relationships here this week, but it applies, we will tend to broaden out because we can't help ourselves.
And apart from that, it's when we're thinking about a job, 99% of the reason that people don't like the job that they're in has got nothing to do with the actual tasks. It's got to do with the people that they're working with. So this week, learning how when you are in your prostitute, when you are in your people pleaser, when you are doing that, is going to be of great value. First in recognizing, and then we will teach you some alchemizing processes towards the end of the week.
Because we have a firm faith that you deserve to love yourself, and you deserve your lover to be supreme, and you deserve to be who you are.
Mm-hmm. Because the opposite of the prostitute is the lover on the lover's council, if you're wondering what Linda's talking about. So, and the lover is the one that is totally about self-love and value, and valuing yourself. Right, and the child. So on the council of, now remember, one of the things that I kind of go with this is, remember that this is child consciousness. We're not talking inner child, we're talking, which may or may not actually contribute to the child consciousness, but we're talking about the notion of operating within the context of a child consciousness. And when we come to doing alchemy that involves kind of getting rid of the child, I just keep reminding people, we're talking consciousness, it's not a real child.
And when we're talking about the council of lies, we're talking about the lies that you tell yourself, because you are lying to yourself if you believe you're not worthy. You are lying to yourself if you believe somebody needs to look after you. And, and when we're talking about the council of lies, because one of my clients recently, she went, I can't say that it's lies. And it was when I put it into the context that she understood why we're talking about our unconscious lying to ourselves. And it's from what we've done in the past. And I think it comes up a bit later on about, no, it wasn't, that was this morning's. Because this morning we talked about it's where we've repressed patterns of behavior or internalized patterns of behavior so deeply that they're out of conscious awareness, and we do them regardless. So for the council of lies, the child is both child, and we've discovered parent as well.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm going to share Wendy's and I's in this, because Wendy's pattern was predominantly in our relationship was predominantly child, and it was frequently rebellious child, because I was frequently nurturing parent or critical parent. So every time I told her to do something, she said, fuck off. So essentially,
yeah, that's that. Linda's got that spot on. Yeah.
So essentially, that's one I can share because we're together. So, but that's the example, because in treating Wendy like she was a child, I drew her rebellious child out, and I didn't recognize her for who she is, and the incredible person that she is. And I do still occasionally fall into old patterns, but what I can say is that we have never been on better terms and better able to communicate to each other in all our 61 years. Do not add on to that. I don't care. Should have said
the
51.
Child lies, I should say.
Oh yeah, the child lies, and I'm good at
lie.
I keep this lie up for this one.
And we'll go into much more detail about this one on Wednesday morning.
So, but the child is totally embroiled in fairness, protection, and permission. It's the child who asks permission to do courses. And especially when they're expensive courses. It's about, I'll tell you when I've spoken to my husband, don't worry, we're not selling you anything today. It's about fairness, and it's the people who goes, you know, when you're in a bad energy, when you're going, it's not fair. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, life's not fair. And expecting it to be fair is
rather unrealistic and childish.
Yeah. So children complain and compare. So if you find yourself comparing yourself to anybody else, you're in the child energy. And we know there's quite a few of you in the child energy from once we've been going on here from the results that we've already done, there's quite a few with some child energy.
Yeah, there is actually.
Patterns. Because it's normal, it's what we do.
It's what we expect. And
Yes.
especially if you're talking, especially when you link it in with the parent-child one, where it's about caring for others and looking after others. Not about rescuing others, but caring for them. That it is so that sometimes, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, the child and the next one, which is the victim, the behaviors are the same, and it's what is the underlying reasons behind the actions that decides which consciousness that you're in.
Okay. So, and it's also the one who throws a temper tantrum. I used to be super duper at throwing temper tantrums.
Not as good as me.
I now do my rants, which are part of our process of what we do, because we actually allow ourselves to complain, to rant, and to do all that, knowing that what we're doing is telling lies. So that's part of the process, and we'll be going into that in more detail as the week goes on. So it's about people who throw temper tantrums, who have hissy fits, who do that.
Who would ever dream?
And it was me in a big way. Then we have the Council of Lies victim. The victim energy is the person, it's the other side of victim as well. It's the rescuer. Those of you who've come through the EAM thing with us, it's the pusher puller, protector energy. I can't remember them anymore, but it's the victim, persecutor, rescuer. And it's any one of those means that you're actually in the shadow energy of the victim.
Shadow consciousness.
Shadow consciousness of the victim. So it's whether you're a bully who's wanting to get your own way, whether you're a rescuer who rescues people regardless of whether they want it or not, looking at a nurse. Of course, we were good at it. Yeah, that's why. And that's the one why it was the parent thing as well. That's that overlap. That when I was in parent and rescuer, I wanted to rescue Wendy because I could see she was making a mistake. Boy, did she tell me to fuck off and to go away, and did rebellious child a lot. And it's also the activist. And this is the one where I've had to take a step back because I've been a bit that way, COVID-ish, looking at being a bit of an activist and saying, why don't people understand, and what are people allowing themselves to be victims for, and all those sorts of things, instead of just taking control of my own
sovereign energy
and my own warrior energy to stand up for me, doing the things that are important for me at this moment, as opposed to trying to rescue others. So the victim energy, as we've just said, is about where people talk about justice and boundaries and blame. As soon as you hear blame,
you're in victim.
So
there's a blame, there's a claim. So talking consciousness and talking the whole world at present is in mass shadow consciousness of victim. The whole COVID scenario, mass shadow consciousness of victim, which we will cover more in detail on Thursday morning.
Okay. So that's what we're going to be doing in relation to the things we're doing. Are there anybody telling us anything?
No,
that
not
we
at
need
the
to
minute.
know? That's okay. And then the final pillar of the Council of Lies is the saboteur.
Oh, and boy, is this a good dude.
And he's been playing around with my frigging computer all day.
And we're laughing and joking because it's quite, of all of the people that we've taken through this process so far, the majority have been women. And every woman's saboteur has been a man. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be the case forever and a day and that others won't be that. But what I find intriguing is that for a good percent, for the majority of women, their saboteur is a man.
Yeah, 100% of
on
the
the
ones
Council of
we've come
Lies.
across.
Yeah. When you how you represent it to yourself, it's usually it has been for most women a man.
Yeah, and you might find that it's the judge, it's the person who's, any skeptics, anybody who's skeptical goes, well, that won't work for me, saboteur at work. Anybody who,
show me the proof.
And anybody who uses the clown, what's the word, who makes fun of you in order to put you down. Saboteur. Because the magician, the opposite, does have fun like we have fun when we're in flow and having fun like today. But the clown is the one who puts you down.
Yeah.
And then there's the rebel, which is that final stage about, no, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not going to do it that way. And I've done a lot of that. And it's also the opposite. It's the teacher's pet. As you can see, they have this this roundness to them that comes out in different ways. And you just know it's happening when it's the person who makes excuses. And the saboteur is serious. They are so serious because it's serious.
Life is incredibly serious.
It was really serious to me earlier on when I couldn't get out that information to you.
Mm.
And I suddenly realised, what the hell are you playing at, Linda? So I did my little rant and sorted it out and moved out of it. But I was taking it really seriously because, I mean, you all understand that technical things happen, and especially on.
And it's a saboteur even now, while she's worrying about it and joking about it and making excuses for it. Because in actual fact, when you're not in saboteur,
you don't
give
excuses.
a fuck.
She's right. So you use judgment and logical thing and uses evidence and intuition. And it's the one who's anxious and worries and procrastinates and finds excuses. And there's quite a few people with saboteurs in the results that we've seen.
Yes, big saboteurs.
Yeah. And in fact, there's quite a few people with a lot of the others.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody got any comments that you want to make? And we're going to leave you,
knowing that you're at least 30 seconds behind us, we're going to wait for at least a minute. So when you're wondering what the silence is, we're just waiting for you to type any comments that you might have and any questions that you might have.
And while we're talking, we'll just do some. No, because I didn't ask for any earlier.
You didn't do that?
No.
That's one of the things that got missed.
No, went on my list.
All right.
So, went on my list for today. We were doing questions about the questionnaire. That was all. So, essentially, people, one of the things that, anything coming through?
Not yet.
Nope. So I'll just talk about the Council of Truth then for now. That is the opposite. So please do be putting things in. The opposite is the other side of the coin. This is where you are in your true essence of totally being who you are, of being who you were born to be, of the person you've come onto this earth to represent, and in control of your life and your destiny.
Yes. So we actually begin with the sovereign, because sovereign is the first of the I am a sovereign being. And part and parcel of when I recognize that I am a sovereign being, I recognize that someone else is. So as and when Linda was trying to parent me, she wasn't being sovereign, but neither was she recognizing me as sovereign. So it is one of the biggies, and that also then moves on to the notion about victims, because that we go, there are no real victims, because you can either go that we chose to come down, we chose to experience this or whatever. Now, and the past history that I've had, I can kind of go with that. It would appear to be a victim. But I also think about when we got robbed and they wanted to send victim support, and I'm kind of going, why? Because what I found, it was more of an inconvenience. I was not victimized, I was inconvenienced. And I think that's a good way for describing it around it. But that's, so the sovereign, the warrior is the one, so the sovereign is the one who knows that they are a sovereign being, makes the decisions, and identify, and is the decision maker, and for what and where you want to do, and creates the vision for your life. Your warrior is the part of you, the consciousness that enables you to then act on those decisions and find the resources to help you with those decisions, and brings the money in.
And maintains your boundaries. It's the opposite of the victim.
Yeah.
So the warrior stands alongside the victim as the counter position once you are in that position. And then finally, we have the lover, which we mentioned earlier, who is the opposite of the prostitute. And it's about loving yourself, and not just loving yourself, but valuing yourself. Because though the warrior is the one who makes the money and brings the money in, the lover is the one who values herself or himself enough to make sure that things happen.
Yeah.
Okay. And then finally, the opposite to the saboteur is your magician. And this is where, when we talk about manifesting, when we're talking about operating from psychic energy, about making things happen in your world.
Intuition and inspiration.
Your magician is the one who feeds you the intuition of what to do when. And when you listen, it's the one that makes things happen. So you've got an active warrior that does things, but you've got the magician who gives you the intuition and the inspiration
Of what action to take.
of what action to take and when to take it. And if you listen to your intuition and actions and inspiration and act immediately, because your magician is the magician that's connected to, if you were to call it the vortex or the, I don't know, whatever light things you call up there, the grid, your magician is connected in. So if you're wanting to attract the most perfect lover in the world to you, you do what your magician tells you to.
Yeah.
When your intuition and inspiration comes through. So this is the ways in which the opposites come through. So we will be going into much more detail and giving specific affirmations related to each in order that you can access that energy easily and effortlessly every night. So we're going to do some in-depth looking at each one. And we know that it's all going to come together for the last night. So on the last night, we are going to pull together the opportunity for someone to actually
have a rant,
go through the process in full. We will be talking about the process as we go along a little bit each time, and we may well go through it live. And when we do those lives, we'll be doing them live, but not on Zoom, so that we can actually interact with you on the Facebook page, so that we can actually hear you. Or we will put the link into the Zoom.
I think it might be the link to the Zoom.
We'll put the link into the Zoom for those, because as we're going through, we're realizing that this is going to be the better way for each of you to actually link into us, because we like talking to people and seeing your faces on screen.
Yes.
So for tonight, put my teeth back in. So for tomorrow night's live, we will be putting the link in to the Zoom. In the morning, we will be 9:30 again in the morning. We will be recording once again on Zoom so that we can share the information that goes out in the PDFs and into the group, so that you've got the PDFs and the information in there. Okay. And all being well, Wendy will have shown me how to download files into Facebook, because MailChimp said no.
I don't know what you mean.
No, it's MailChimp is what we use. MailChimp is what we use to put out our information. But you've downloaded into groups previously your blogs.
Yes.
So Wendy knows how to download information into groups, and she's going to share that with me tomorrow morning, ready for you to get all the information.
So we'll put the book in under the files in the group, and we'll let you know when we've posted it.
Yeah. Okay, so we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning, bright and breezy, 9:30. So the children have gone to school, and those who've made time in their diaries know that we're here. And if not, we look forward to seeing you whatever time you choose to watch tomorrow morning, because that's recorded and you can watch it whenever you like, as is this. And we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
Okay, so we'll see you then.
Okay, then. Take care, everybody. Love and hugs.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Stop sharing. End.